Hey everybody, and welcome to episode 7 of the Concho Sports Show. I'm SHEA Harris, coming to you from Concho Sports Network headquarters in San Angelo, which, by the way, just happens to be home of the 9-time and current defending state champion San Angelo Central Lady Cats Gymnastics team, which it's no coincidence that I'm mentioning that because that is going to be our topic today. And as usual, I'm joined by my co-host Vince Salazar. How you doing, buddy?
Good. Happy to be back with you there, SHEA. I see you got all your Central Orange on today, so it's going to be a good show lined up for us here.
Yes, sir. All right, and before we get started, I just wanted to mention our sponsor, Wingstop. Wanted to thank them, and you can order wings for pickup or delivery at 325-227-6777, wingstop.com, or the Wingstop app, and we'd really appreciate it if you would support those guys. Also, please follow us on all social media right here at Concho Sports. We would also appreciate that very much. Help us out if you enjoy what we do. And also, real quick, wanted to mention we are now available as an audio podcast. So if you do like listening to podcasts, on your commute or whatever, or maybe you need a sleeping aid, maybe we can even help with that a little bit. But yeah, pretty much the only one we're not on yet, because it always seems to take longer with Apple, is Apple Podcasts. It always takes a little bit longer, but we are on Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Player FM, Spotify, all of that. And any day now you should see us pop up on Apple Podcasts. So if you do like to consume your content that way, that's just another option if you would rather do that than watch the show, or if you're not able to watch. All right, and before we get started, I want to go ahead and lead things off with Vince.
Never gets old hearing that.
All right, what do you have for us today?
All righty, man. Well, we had some big positives go on. Of course, yesterday we had NASCAR finally make its return here. It was really interesting. They were able to use all their racing cars. Pit crews were present. I believe their crew chiefs were present as well, but they all had to have masks. It was interesting looking out to the audience because there was nobody there, but definitely a good positive on the sports front. I heard some other stories come out this week that I found really interesting in regards to collegiate athletics. So what we had heard from the NCAA from a report that was coming out of Minnesota was that depending on how campuses choose to either activate or allow students back on campus will depend on how fall sports could be affected. Now, the Power 5 conferences apparently have made the claim that if the NCAA was to postpone those sports, there might be an option for them to leave the NCAA and establish their own type of sporting organization, which would basically completely change the landscape of NCAA athletics entirely. But of course, that's all just kind of speculations at this moment. But as we get closer to the fall, that'll be a big development to see what happens there. We've seen, I believe, a Division II athletic group out of California. They have already suspended all of their fall sports going forward, so that could be very big in regards to a lot of other teams that are in the Division II ranks. And we've also seen one Division I conference already make changes. The Mid-American Conference, they announced that they're going to be suspending some of their conference championship tournaments coming up here. So it'll be really interesting to see. So we now seen changes in the Division II ranks and the Division I ranks. So, we're hoping to see maybe some things open up more going into the fall, when we have, but at the same time, we've also seen some things kind of back up at the same time. So definitely a lot of questions going forward here into the fall. So we'll have to just kind of keep an eye on things and see how things kind of continue to develop.
Yeah, it's going to be kind of an ever-changing story here over the next few months to see what's going to happen. Hopefully everything works out by fall. And real quick, just a couple of things that have happened around our area with sports. Our third guest ever on the show, Wall head coach of the boys basketball team there, Brian Blackburn, left, took the Boswell job in Fort Worth, which is a 6A job. So that's a good move for him. Of course, Wall, they're always good. They're gonna find a good guy and keep rolling as they always do. But I want to say congratulations to Coach Blackburn on that.
Yeah, absolutely. He was a fantastic guest to have with us. Great guy. I wish him the absolute best. He's going to be missed at Wall, but I can guarantee you he's going to really do great things up there in that Fort Worth area.
Yes, sir. And also the Central Bobcats, they've actually found their new head basketball coach, replacing Dustin Fott, who left for Midland. CJ Villegas, who comes from Friendship. He was an assistant there, but he's got a lot of head coaching experience also. So from everything I've read and heard, sounds like a great hire for them to get their basketball program going.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, Vince, now it's time to go ahead and introduce our guests. And today we are talking about Central Lady Cats Gymnastics, which is one of the elite sports programs in the state of Texas. And they are the defending state champions. And they were actually ranked number 1 when the shutdown happened, and they were, of course, favorites to defend their title again. And first of all, we've got Coach Tony Walker here. And Coach Walker, he is a 9-time state champion. He's been at Central for 32 years, is the gymnastics coach. And also we have senior, the highest ranking team senior, Savanna Razani, who was 5th in the all-around in the state. And, of course, sophomore Madison Vogel, who's elite all-state, which means she was top 5 on every event. And actually, I think she was at least top 2 in every event, including first in the all-around in the state. How are you guys doing?
Good.
Doing good. Thank you for having us.
Awesome. Yeah, excited to have you. Like I was saying before, really pumped up for this one because it's not every day you get to talk to state champions, and you guys are all state champions, so that's really exciting. And just want to start off saying, hey, how are you guys doing, during all this pandemic the last couple of months and with all the social distancing? Coach.
Good.
I'll let the girls go first.
All right. What do you think, Savannah?
It was a difficult adjustment at first. It took just getting used to setting aside time for assignments and everything else at home. But eventually I kind of got the hang of it, and now it's not so bad.
Madison?
I'm kind of used to it now. It's not that, I wanted school to end, but it's kind of nice because I feel so non-stressed, I guess you could say. But I definitely miss it, and I've been bored, and that's it.
Yeah, I'm sure everybody's getting bored, especially all the young people who are used to being so busy.
Yeah.
And I guess you guys must miss your teammates and your classmates a lot by now.
Yes.
Yeah, a
Yes,
lot.
definitely.
All right. Coach, tell us a little bit about your background. I put that graphic up real quick, but, you've been here for 32 years. Tell me kind of how that came to be, how you ended up here, and how you got started.
Okay. Actually, I was not a gymnast. I was actually a soccer player and a track athlete in high school and in college. And I actually got involved in gymnastics through a course at A&M that we had to take, and which led me to teach at a private club just for extra money to apply what I was learning. And it just so happened that the guy that owned the private club was a part of the Olympic program. And so I got established there and kind of started getting an interest in gymnastics. And then when I graduated, my goal was to be a soccer coach. And when I graduated, there were no soccer jobs at the time, but there was some private club coaching available. So I did that. And then through leaps of fate, a Dallas Morning News help wanted ad for the San Angelo Gym Open, and I applied for it, and they flew out here to meet me, and then I flew to meet them, and then the rest is kind of history. I ended up with the job with Coach James White, and he had already established a program that had won to that point 4 state titles. And so I kind of walked into a good situation and became the girls' coach. So one thing led to another, and here I am 32 years later.
Oh, yeah, definitely not your typical route to a job, when you never even thought you were going to do that. Thought it was going to be a total other sport. Wow.
Not at all.
And, since 1989, you guys have won 9 state titles. You probably would have gotten your 10th this year. I mean, I know you said, like you said in the paper with Charles Bryce, you felt more confident going into the postseason, district and regionals and state this year than you had with any of your other teams. So just talk about the team in general, this year, what made them special.
Well, one of the things that made us special was that we were the same team that won the previous year. And not only that, but the group of seniors that we had, since they were freshmen, they were a solid group, and they surprised everybody their freshman year by placing second. And it was just in the last rotation at the state championships that they ended up losing by like 0.25. And so they've provided some good, solid leadership for the past few years for our team. And then in walked a great freshman class with Madison and Jaden and Haley and several other girls. And so the combination of the welcoming of that our seniors did to the incoming freshman class was huge, and they immediately formed bonds, and it's probably they all had a lot of talent, but probably the bond that they established together was one of the main things that made us successful this year. And that was our goal, to be state champions again this year, and we were headed in that direction. And we matter of fact, we beat all the teams that were ranked below us in head-to-head competitions already. We hosted LD Bell. We had competed against Rockwall Heath and Boswell, so we were sitting pretty good.
And I know you, like you said, I think you were undefeated this year and last year in all meets. Do you remember the last time you actually didn't come in first in a meet?
The only place that we have been defeated probably in the last, probably at least 10 years has probably been at the state championships.
Wow.
And so with Savanna and them senior year, like I said, they placed second when they were a freshman, and second the next year. And I think last year we dropped it, and then, the year before that dropped a little bit and then won, surprisingly. Matter of fact, we went into that state meet last year ranked number 4. So we surprised everybody.
Yeah, I think you were behind, and you had to the last day there, you had to really probably be pretty close to perfect to just barely eke it out.
Right. Yeah, we actually went into that second day in third place, I believe.
Wow. And
maybe
that's pretty amazing, your guys' record. And I've always kind of been fascinated by the program because I graduated from Central myself, and I've been following you guys since you've been there, since I was a kid. And, you've built up an incredible tradition. So, and being so dominant year in and year out for so long, and what factors play into that to be able to do that over such a long period of time?
Well, like I said, I came into a good established program with Coach White. And Coach White had some connections with, number one, he was an Olympic judge, and he also did some friendship connections to the United States Gymnastics Federation with the countries of Australia and Russia. And so he had brought some of what he had learned over there to San Angelo, and I kind of used it a little bit. But what people don't know about the Central program is that it has historically put out former gymnasts out into the coaching field that have been Olympic coaches and that have had established Olympic clubs that train Olympic gymnasts. And then also a young man by the name of Dennis McIntyre that graduated from Central became the boys team coordinator. So we've had multiple coaches on the elite level, and basically what I'm friends with a lot of them, and I basically follow their formats. And I go to clinics to educate myself. Like I said, I was a soccer player and a track athlete. So I kind of had to start from ground zero on learning the sport of gymnastics, especially the sport of girls gymnastics, which I was totally unfamiliar with. So I just took what I knew from a team concept in regards to soccer and did my very best to apply it to what I did there at Central with the girls gymnastics program. So far, it's worked.
Yeah, it's very impressive the way you were able to translate everything over and keep that tradition that was started by Coach White going.
Excellent. Absolutely right. Well, Coach, there's one thing I've kind of been curious about. How do your players kind of stay in shape right now with the pandemic going on? I know compared to some of the other sports we've talked about here where they have the opportunity, have basketballs at home or baseball bats, your girls don't really have that easy access to the equipment. So what do they do to kind of, stay in shape, ready to go here?
Well, especially in the beginning when we thought that the gymnastics season would possibly continue. Right now, they've been having to do everything virtually, and I have been sending them assignments, and they have to turn them in weekly to show me what they've been doing. And a lot of what they have to do when they aren't around equipment is making sure that they keep their conditioning and strength up and keep their flexibility up. Now, I obviously can't monitor that like I would be able to in the gym. So it kind of comes down to them and some self-motivation and did they or did they not do it. I think that we could have walked back in to the gym and picked up where we were at, and I still feel like we could have walked into that state championship and won.
Yeah, absolutely right, Coach. And we Shay mentioned it at the top of the show. Y'all sadly didn't have a chance to really defend that state championship this year. Tell us, what your prediction would have been, and that also goes for your players as well. What do y'all feel like y'all could have done by the end of this year, and maybe bring back another district, not just district, but another state championship back to San Angelo?
Well, we were in good form. We had no injuries at the time. Our camaraderie was working well, and we're all getting along. And really, believe it or not, no matter how talented you are, you put about 14 girls together, and if they don't get along together as teammates, then they aren't going to gel well when it comes to competition. And that has been the positive side of our team, is that they have gelled well as a team, which I know that they were hungry for that state title. And we were in all good form our leading up to spring break. We had a great spring break workout, and we were ready for a little bit of a break and ready to come back. And I feel like we would have finished in dominating fashion. Matter of fact, I feel like that we could have gone in and broken some state records. I was looking forward to it.
Wow, great prediction there, Coach. Of course, I looked at some of your players here. Savanna, of course, a senior here for the Central Lady Cat team. Sadly, y'all didn't have a chance to finish off. Tell us a little bit about, kind of the opportunity you don't really get to have now that you're a senior and you don't really get the chance to, sadly, finish off your year as a Central Lady Bobcat.
Yeah, it's been very hard because I've been in gymnastics for 14 years, and this is my final year competing, so losing the rest of my season so suddenly was definitely hard, kind of emotional, but I guess I've just come to peace with it as best as I can, and never forget gymnastics and the memories that I've made with Central, so...
Yeah, excellent. You mentioned 14 years participating in gymnastics. Talk a little bit about some of the opportunities, that have been presented to you going forward within a college atmosphere going next.
Well, I would have possibly liked to do college gymnastics where I'm going. So I will be doing cheer in college, which is the closest I can get. I'll still be incorporating gymnastics in that, so I think that's the way I'm holding on to gymnastics.
Excellent. And Madison, of course, you're the sophomore for this squad. Of course, a squad that'll be coming up here pretty soon could be a really big one statewide as y'all enter it, going forward. Tell us a little bit about, what this season meant for you and this, sadly how it was just kind of unable to really get going because of the pandemic.
Well, this year so far was really good because every single meet I competed all around in, I had won. So I was going undefeated and the team was going undefeated. And it also made me sad because I had a vault I was working on that I actually won with last year, and I didn't get to do that. I was going to do that the last 3 meets, and of course COVID ruined that. So I didn't get to work on that vault, so I didn't get to, I guess, rank number 1 in that vault because I didn't get to compete it. So that was a bummer. But other than that, this year had been really solid and good.
Yeah, definitely sad to hear you couldn't do that, but as you mentioned, a good year overall, so definitely some things to kind of take away from that. Probably my last question here for the both of y'all. What has been y'all's favorite event that y'all have competed in with gymnastics as a Central Lady Bobcat?
Mine is probably bars because
Mine's
I've just done well with bars.
I think vault because of my vault. And I don't see anybody else do it. So I think that's it.
That's very true.
That would
Congratulations.
be a good assessment from both of them. What they named was probably their best event.
Good. Yeah,
Well,
usually what you're best at is hopefully what your favorite event is too. So, yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely right. Congratulations, girls, on a great year. Coach, you got a great squad. And I'll pass it on back here to
Thank you.
Shea. I know he's got some more questions lined up for you.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Girls, talk about, you mentioned it a little bit, but what is school like now, with the virtual learning and everything, and how long did it take you to get adjusted? I know, Madison, you said it's kind of less stressful, but, just talk a little bit more about that.
Savannah, you can go.
Okay, well, it was a bit of an adjustment, but honestly, most of our work is online now anyways. Like school, we use Google Classroom and just online websites to get a lot of our work done. So it wasn't too overly difficult to adjust to virtual learning, and I haven't really had a problem with it.
Coach, I'm
I
curious.
haven't had much of a problem.
Go ahead, Madison.
I haven't had much of a problem with it. It's just sometimes I forget to do it. And yeah, that's my only problem.
Yeah, it's a lot different than when you're in school every day and you have somebody, keeping you on task. But it's good practice for the future too when you're going to be on your own. So, yeah, I guess that's one good thing is you guys are actually getting the advantage of that, getting prepared for that like, nobody else ever has. A little early preparation for the future.
Probably for most students, they've been accustomed to the whole Google Classroom, so that hasn't been a real tough adjustment for them. They're accustomed to turning in assignments that way, etc. Probably for the most part, from what I've noticed from students in my classes, is that the only thing that's really new to them is all the whole virtual looking at through Zoom and stuff like that. And then anything physical, like everything that I do with them, obviously we never did virtual stuff. So that personal interaction that we have on a daily basis, that's something that I've truly missed. I mean, that's part of teaching for me, is being involved with kids. And so this whole virtual stuff for me has taken a little bit away from teaching and coaching.
Madison, how many dogs do you have?
Too many.
You got a husky back.
Yeah, we got 3 right here and then another one inside.
Apparently they've always all wanted to be on TV.
Yeah, I know.
Now's their chance. So they're not letting it pass them by. Beautiful.
I know. Pretty blue eyes.
Coach, talk about, because last year, like you said, you came into this season with the same team. You didn't lose any seniors. So talk about this year's group of seniors, because you do have several that are graduating. Just talk about them and what they've been like the last 4 years.
Okay. When Savannah's group came in, probably there were, I want to say 8 of them that came in, a strong group. One after her freshman year, which would have still made a true impact on our team. Her name was Janae, and she had to move to Florida with her family. And then we had 2 other young ladies this past year move away from San Angelo, so we lost them as well. But the 5 remaining, have been solid individuals, not just gymnasts, but they've just been solid individuals, and that had so much more going for them than just being in the sport of gymnastics. They were intelligent young ladies, and they were talented, and and most of all, what they did, like I said earlier, was they made the people coming into their team each year feel included, and they made them feel a part of the team instantly. There was nothing that anybody had to do to prove themselves to them. They were just a welcoming group of girls, and actually one of my best senior classes that I've ever had over the 32 years, and I'll miss them.
And Madison's sophomore class is really good too. They came in, last year's freshman, made an immediate impact to help y'all win a state championship. So talk about her class and, what you see with them in the future for the next 2 years.
Yeah, I think that Madison's class kind of somewhat resembles Savanna's class in a sense. There are both large groups and in between there's one junior in between them. So it's in the same way that happened to Savanna and them. There was one person in between them when it all happened. So they've been the nucleus of the team. And I think that what I've gotten from all my Google Classroom stuff that we've been doing and things that I've asked them to correspond on, what I've gotten from them is that they want to be like the graduating seniors, and that they want to be welcoming to teammates, and they want to strive to the same goals that that group of seniors had. This group of seniors wanted to win a state championship since they were freshmen. This group of sophomores right now won a state title when they were freshmen, and I don't think they're ready to quit now. So, we're still the reigning state champions. Whether we competed this year or not, we're still the reigning state champions, and that's the way we'll view going into next year. I think that we'll still have a strong team with what we have and what we have coming up, and I think Madison and the rest of those young ladies, I think we're all looking forward to it. We missed this year. We missed knowing what we could have done this year, but just because of the group of kids that it was with, it would have been nice to recapture that once more. But I feel the same thing can happen in the next couple of years with Madison and her class. They're only going to continue to get stronger, so I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, absolutely. I know I can't wait to see what y'all do next year after not getting the opportunity, this spring. In Madison, how much does this motivate you, not being able to, finish things off this year? How much does it motivate you for next year?
Well, next year, my goal is to, because I did so good this year, I think it's pushing me to do even better next year. Like how I was ranked 1 and 2 on events like going in and out or whatever. I want to try to get first on everything. It's my goal. And yeah, just to try to go undefeated again.
Awesome. Yeah. And this is for both of you guys. I mean, like you said, you're both top 5 in every event in the state. How hard is it to be that good in every event? Like a lot of gymnasts, maybe they're really good at one event or 2 events, but how tough is it? And how much work does it take to be that good in so many events? Savanna.
It takes good coaching.
Oh yeah.
It's definitely good coaching. That's a huge part of it. I think just putting in a lot of work. We work at 3 hours every day. Having competitions where we get time in is good. And we just work well as a team together, and we work really hard individually too, and that's how we come out on top.
Madison, what do you think?
I don't think, you have to work very hard, but you also have to make sure you're happy with what you're doing. You can't push yourself too hard.
And when you're competing at a state level like that, especially for a program with so much tradition every year, how much pressure do you feel? You're there at the state meet and you're about to do an important event and perform. How much pressure do you feel?
lot. It's definitely a lot of pressure, especially at the state meet. It's like now or never. You either do really well or you crumble. So just take it.
Thanks
When I
to,
go,
yeah.
I feel like I'm gonna throw up. Like it's so scary.
I can attest to both of what they're saying, because Savannah does, she gets a little nervous and she gets a little crumbly sometimes. So she puts pressure on herself under those circumstances. And last year at the state championship, she really thrived by it. And like Madison said, she gets super nervous and like she wants to throw up. But somehow that pushes her, and being under that intense pressure, that's where I've seen Madison do her very best.
Yeah, it's always amazed me the way athletes do handle pressure in these big situations, because I guess people probably think that they don't get as nervous as they do because they look so calm, and when they go and put out a great performance. And I remember playing football being that way. Like a lot of the players would, feel sick to their stomach, like Madison said, and then, but you kind of get in the zone in your head and you go and you do it, and before you know it,
they do those routines so many times a day, and so many times in a year, and so many times in a season. But then they get to that one state championship that they get one try at it. And they know that they know in practice they can do it 5 to 7 times in a row perfect. And it ends up being how they deal with that pressure in that situation to do it perfectly that one time. And they either make it or break it. Last year we made it.
Savanna and Madison both, this is for both you guys. How young did you start doing gymnastics? I know it's pretty common, to start really young. So when did you guys get started?
I started when I was 3, and I've been doing it ever since.
I started it when I was 8. I was older.
Yeah. Not bad to be top all around in the state when you didn't start until you were 8. Wow.
I know.
It's pretty impressive. So you guys, you get started young with gymnastics, and this is a program that's had great tradition since, before you guys were even around. So did you kind of like, kids in San Angelo that are boys, a lot of them grow up wanting to be Bobcat football players or maybe one of the other sports? Did you kind of dream when you were young of being part of this team at Central?
Yeah.
Well,
I get up to the older gymnasts and hope to be like them.
I
Madison?
moved here in like the 6th grade, and I had already known like when I get to high school I was gonna go to their gymnastics program. So I guess, yeah.
And are there any gymnasts that you guys looked up to growing up? Like maybe, on the national team, something like that.
For me, it was Sean Johnson, Nastia Lukin, and more recently Simone Biles.
Yeah, that was mine too.
All right. Same exact ones. So what other activities do you guys do in high school? Are you both cheerleaders?
I did cheerleading my freshman year for Central, and doing both sports killed me. So I didn't do it this year. I didn't do cheer this year. And I don't think I'm going to be doing it any other year either.
I just did gymnastics.
Yeah, like you said, it kills you doing both. They're both really demanding physically. How hard do you have to work? I mean, to me, gymnasts, it always seems like there's some of the toughest athletes out there. It's easy to get hurt, and it seems like it takes a lot of work and dedication starting at a young age. So talk about that a little bit, how much work it takes. Savanna?
It does take a lot of work, and like you said, it does take a huge toll out on the body because you're putting in so many hours and every event is so different. So it's just several ways that things could go wrong, I guess, but you just have to put in your all, and there's always going to be injuries that come with the experience, but it's worth it for me.
Yeah, it's exhausting and you want to give up sometimes, but you can't. And in the end, it's worth it. It's the best feeling ever when you win and stuff. And when all your hard work pays off, it's the best.
Absolutely. So what about, so you're a senior, Savanna, so what are your future plans? Do you have things laid out?
Yes, I plan on going to Angelo State University, and I'm going to be cheering with them, and yeah, probably get a job. That's my plan.
Still a little early for you, Madison. You know, you're only a sophomore, but do you kind of have an idea of what you want to do after high school?
Well, I want to go to college for gymnastics. I want to try to go to Texas Women's University. They have like is it Division II or something?
Mm-hmm.
I
a
don't
little.
know.
But
it's, I don't know, but that's what I want to do. I want to go there and do gymnastics until I can't do it anymore.
All right, guys. I think it is now time for overtime. I think that sound effect kind of freaked Madison out. I saw your eyes get really big. I wasn't expecting that. All right. So Vince, are we going to alternate questions again?
Yep, that sounds good.
All right. Cool. First of all, you know, this is for everybody. Do you guys have a favorite sports movie?
Blindside for me.
Blindside, yeah, good one.
Blindside.
It's a good movie. I don't know.
I knew Coach would have one, but
What's that gymnastics movie you liked at Madison?
Yeah, what's that one?
I like Raising.
Huh?
you cut out there for a
Raising-
second.
Oh, stick it.
Stick it. Yeah,
Stick it,
that's
yeah.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And you ladies, I don't know
that
if you remember this one. I don't remember the name. Maybe Coach Walker knows, but there was one that came out in the 80s that was a gymnastics movie. That's the only other one I could think of when I was thinking about this earlier. Do you remember that even being a movie? I should have looked it up, but I don't remember what it's called.
In the 80s.
I think it was in the 80s.
It involved a male gymnast, didn't it?
Yeah, oh, I think it had
Mitch
both.
Gaylord or something like that.
I think so. I think that
Yeah,
was his name.
yeah.
Like I can picture that.
Yeah,
I
Mitch
can picture his
Gaylord.
face, but I can't remember much else about it. But I
Yeah,
remember it must have
dark
come
hair,
on.
he was,
Mhm. Yeah.
yeah, he was an Olympian. Yeah,
hmm
I remember that.
I remember it must have come on HBO a lot or something like that when I was a kid because I just remember watching it. And that was the only other gymnastics
Yeah.
movie I could think of
Yeah.
earlier. And then I never ended up
I
looking
forgot
it up
about
to see
that.
what it was. Yeah. All right, guys.
Good.
You three, do you have a favorite hobby when you're not doing gymnastics or in school or working?
I do a lot of singing. That's probably a hobby of mine.
I don't do anything.
I guess that's why you're bored.
Well, I mean, I swim sometimes.
She spends a lot of time outside, I think.
And a lot of time taking care of your
I
dogs. I bet.
actually love hiking.
Hiking,
I
okay.
enjoy hiking, so I get into the mountains and I hike is what I do.
I walk, actually. Lately I've been walking.
All right, Savanna, sing us a song. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, yeah. I don't know that one.
I wouldn't make you do that on the spot. All right. Okay. Here's an interesting one. Actually, I'll let Vince go, and then I'll go back to this one.
Okay, awesome. I'll go to my one I used last week. Favorite decade of music or your favorite genre of music?
Country.
God,
I
I mean, I
like
graduated in 1978, so I got to go with Eagles and people
Okay.
like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you, Coach.
So we're with the 70s, 80s, yeah. I
Yeah.
heard Madison say country. That's a good genre.
Savannah?
I like rap.
Okay.
She
Good.
does.
All right.
She does.
Yeah.
Okay.
You guys
If you-
see what I deal with.
But you like to sing. You like rap, but you like to sing.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
So if you could have any superpower, but just one, what would it be?
for
Reading
all of
people's
us?
minds.
Okay,
That's what
reading
I was
minds.
gonna say.
Oh,
Oh, well, I said it first, so.
I'd want to be able to fly.
Oh, but that's a good one too.
Be
Oh,
cool.
Too
Or
late.
breathe underwater.
yeah. I didn't think about that
Be
one.
cool.
That's a
Yeah.
good one.
Mermaid.
Vince.
I think I'm going to go with super strength because usually something gets caught somewhere and it's too heavy for me to pick up. So that would come in handy right there.
There you go.
I didn't really think about it much. I probably should have, but I guess, well, reading people's minds would be pretty useful. So, I like that one. That was a good suggestion. Okay. Dogs or cats?
Dogs.
Dogs.
Dog.
I think we're all dogs because you're a
I think
dog
we're all
guy too,
dogs,
Vince.
yeah.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, that's right. Madison, what kind of dogs do you have? We saw the husky, but what are the other three?
I have a Doberman and a Yorkie, and then the other one's my grandma's, which the other dog's a Chihuahua, but we don't even notice it's there because it's always in the room.
So two big dogs and two small dogs.
Mhm.
Yeah. I've got a beagle sleeping right next to me.
Oh.
And he was staring at me a minute ago wanting food even though it's way too early. That's a beagle for you. They're always wanting food no matter what. Vince?
Okay, let's see. I'll go back to another one. Paper or plastic?
Paper.
Paper. Okay.
Paper.
Paper.
I'll say paper for like bags.
Yeah.
Awesome. So three's papers. Awesome. I don't even know if they give out paper or plastic at the store anymore, now that I think about it.
I don't
Yeah,
see
yeah.
paper much.
Well, now because of all the COVID stuff, you can't take your own personal bags in any longer.
Right.
You have to use what they have, or from what I've noticed at places that I've been.
Yeah, absolutely right, Coach.
All right. Facebook or Instagram?
Instagram.
I'm a neither.
And you're not on Twitter either, are you, Coach?
I'm not on anything. I stay hidden.
True.
They know I do. So this whole virtual learning to me, when I had to go, move to this platform, I was not a fan of.
I'm on TV. Shut the door. That's my grandma.
Hi, Grandma. Welcome to the show. All right. Beach or mountains?
Beach.
Mountains.
Beach.
What about you, Vince?
Oof, that's kind of a tough one, you know. I've been to the beach, and then I love John Denver's Rocky Mountain High. Gosh.
Mountains.
You know, why not? I'll go with the mountains. I'll go with the mountains.
Me too. I'm a mountain guy. I haven't even been to the beach probably in like 20 years. I haven't really missed it. So, yeah, I'd rather go up to the mountains, big trees, The smell of pine trees. Oh yeah. Yeah. All right. Got any more events?
Let me think here. I think I got our old one that you usually use. It's the if you could only have one to eat for the rest of your life, would it either be barbecue or Mexican food?
Mexican.
Mexican food.
Mexican food. Yeah.
Wow.
All right. Yeah. Mexican food is making a comeback because we've asked this
It's coming
each
back,
week.
yeah.
And at the beginning, almost everybody was saying barbecue. But here,
I don't
the
like
tides are kind of turning a little bit. Oh, I don't like barbecue.
Yeah.
There we go.
Old to me.
All right. iPhone or Android?
iPhone.
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 Vince.
You know, it used to be all Android for me, and when I worked at Ram TV at Angelo State, you know, everybody would give me a hard case about that, but I had to switch over to iPhone. So yeah, I'm definitely an iPhone guy now.
Nah, I'm an Android guy. I've never even owned a single Apple product ever. Yeah. Which not really, it's not like I've made a choice. Oh, I'm not going to buy anything that's Apple stuff, but
It just
I
happened
guess,
that way.
I guess that's not my demographic. All right. Let's see. Do you guys play video games?
No.
Yes.
Savannah? Okay,
Yes.
Savannah. Well, you can answer this one then.
Yes, I do.
Xbox, PlayStation, or Switch? What do you like best?
PlayStation.
Okay,
I have a Switch.
You have a Switch, Madison?
I switch.
Coach Walker, do you have an Atari? Or did you in the 80s?
Good one. Good one. No, but I have bought a lot of Xboxes for my children.
Okay, that's close
Yeah.
enough. That's close
All right.
enough.
So you've been around video games, even if maybe you haven't
I
been playing
have.
much.
Yes.
Yeah, see, I remember I think my grandparents had an Atari, like the original Atari, and you might remember this one. I don't know if anybody else remember it, but the Intellivision. I know my
Oh,
grandmother had an
yes.
Intellivision.
That's close
Yes,
to the
I remember
Commodore.
it.
What is that? Was it the Intellivision and the?
Yes.
There's another one that has Vision in it. I can't
Yeah,
remember.
there's a ColecoVision.
ColecoVision. There it is.
Yeah.
ColecoVision.
Yeah, I think they were at it around the same time. All right, we lost Madison there for a second, but she's back. She lost her internet connection. All right, so we just have a couple more questions, guys. Let me see. All right. Okay. This is for all of you, and I'll start with Savannah. We'll see how hard this is, but describe Madison in 3 words.
Energetic, fun, determined.
All right.
I agree with all those.
All right. Madison, describe Savannah in 3 words.
Clumsy. Funny. Crazy.
Wow. Very descriptive. How can you be a great gymnast and be clumsy?
It's okay, I'm clumsy too.
It's tough.
All right.
You would be amazed.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'm asking this. I want Savannah and Madison to both answer this. How cool is Coach Walker?
10.
100.
I think Madison wins that one. Although I guess
Dang
Coach
it.
Walker is the big winner there. A 10 and 100. You can't beat that.
Score.
Very smart answers. Yes. All right. And for our very last question, this is the one I always end on. Creamy or crunchy peanut butter?
Creamy.
Creamy.
Great.
There we go.
All right.
Back to it.
Yeah.
We got
See,
the tweet back.
every week there's only been one person who has said crunchy, which is what that's my choice is crunchy, and that was Charles Bryce from the Standard Times last week. So it's a small
I'm the only
team.
one.
Crunchy is a small team so far.
My team's winning.
Yeah.
Great.
All right, guys. Well, we really appreciate you guys coming on. It was a lot of fun. I mean, I was excited to have you guys on, so really appreciate it.
Thank you, Shay. We appreciate it too.
Thank you.
Thanks for having.
You're welcome. Thanks for coming.
Thanks for coming, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah,
All right,
thank
Vince.
All righty, yeah, another great show today, Shay. With this episode number 7, we're growing slowly. As you mentioned, we now have our stream. You mentioned it's like a stream, like a live stream, not a live stream, a podcast type deal, right? Awesome.
Right.
So I mean, we're growing as well with that. A fantastic job having Coach Walker with us. And his Central Lady Bobcat team. I mean, they did a phenomenal year this year. Sadly, with the whole pandemic, they can't really do what they were hoping to defend. But, I expect them to continue to be very successful. It's a very fun program. A lot of people know the Bobcats for their football, but boy, I mean, their gymnastics are right there just as well. It's phenomenal. So a lot of great stuff going on in the Concho Valley. So, we got great sports going on. So we got another show lined up next week, and it'll be a surprise to see who we get coming in to talk with us.
Yes, sir. And, really, you mentioned how good their program is. There's probably not another sports athletic program in high school in the state of Texas that is more accomplished than theirs is. So they definitely deserve all of the recognition that they can get. So, again, I was really glad to get them on and talk to them and kind of learn about what they do. And I just want to one more time thank our sponsor, Wingstop on Knickerbocker Road in San Angelo. You can order wings from them 325-227-6777 at the Wingstop app or wingstop.com. And also, of course, follow us on social media at Concho Sports. And as always, just want to thank you for watching, and we'll see you next week.